this is something that I've never done before, which is to endorse a product, but I saw that there was a huge need for a product that controls and manages your database, your group business, and individuals. And I've been a big fan of Darla's company, Kleiny's. We put together this deal. She was kind enough, and I just need to know I don't know if any of you signed up for it. If you have more information, if you have any questions for it, let me know. We put that out there, and I wanted to be sure that you all saw that. All right, here we go. We're going to dig right in here, and I don't see Michelle is on yet, so let me see if Michelle does join us. I'll save her question. So let me ask, this is Sam's question, which came in first. We'll do it in order in which they were received. Okay, listen up, everybody, and I'm going to try to skim through this, and it's a great question. Ed says, I have a fixed cost, a fixed overall cost that I want to spread across the guests in a group. But obviously, he hasn't launched for sale yet, right, Ed? And so in terms of setting the price, the selling price, how do you estimate the size of the group to spread it across the group? As an example, the per person net cost is okay. The per net cost is $1,000, and he wants to build the Pied Piper Fair Inn. So basically, Ed wants to take the cost of this, which is $1,000 per person, for the Pied Piper, and spread that $1,000 right over everybody in the group. Because Ed, you don't need to pay for it. Everybody else should pay for it. That's the way to go. But you don't know if you can have 20 people, which means it's $50 a person, or if you can have 18 people, or if you're going to have 50 people at $20 a person. So how do you do it? So Ed says here, my gut is to do the math on a reasonable but conservative estimate and set a minimum for the group to go, which I completely agree with. Bookings beyond that would be extra money, which I could share into an incentive for the people or for the group, or keep it as a surplus. So, and I want to see what you all do as I give you my answer. When you're faced with getting any kind of a fixed cost that you need to spread out across the people, but you don't know how many people you're going to get. And I've had a lot of experience with this, especially with my river cruise. Okay, so my suggestion is do exactly what you've said. And I don't know, Ed, if you or if all you guys use Excel spreadsheets, but I will set up a series of what ifs in the spreadsheet. What if I get 15 people? What if I get 20? What if I get 25, 30? I'll do it in increments of 5, let's say, to see what that would look like, how much the cost per head. And the issue here, Ed, is that if you base it on too few people, that means the per person cost is high. And you could end up creating an unattractive selling price. So there's a balance there. What do you do? Well, one of the most important things at the end of the day, I believe, to look at is when you're entering to this deal, this agreement, what's the bottom line here? If you don't, what's the minimum sales for this to go? So you can use that as your foundation, where this group is not going to go if it goes below this number. Okay. And of course, if you use the group launch sequence, if everything meets the group viability test, and you get the group leader to sign the agreement, you should be fine. There's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs. So what I do is I play out all the variables at the very minimum, and there's always some risk involved. There's no doubt, but you don't want to take it on the chin, man. I would say you're not in this to lose money. You don't want to take it on the chin. So absolutely, positively, wherever that foundation, that base is, where this group ain't going to go, if it falls below, then that's going to be your bare minimum. And then you're going to have to add it in per person. Now, what you can do, I agree, is you can offer an incentive not just to the group leader, but to the whole group, and say that, hey, if we have a minimum of 40 people going, whatever the number is, and you can come up with that number based on where you're going to have that surplus, right, Ed? Where you've got the Pied Piper, the Pied Piper paid for, that $1,000 paid for, and look, you can keep it, man. You're entitled to earn that money, but you can say, hey, if we hit this, all guests get this. Make sure it's something they want. One thing you don't want to do is offer an incentive, a reward that only half the people want, that only some of the people want, or they go, you know what, don't give me the reward, give me the cash. You don't want it to be that. You want the reward, ideally, to be something that the group leader really wants, the Pied Piper wants everybody to have, but they didn't want to pay for. Okay, but everyone wants to participate in. Maybe it's an excursion, maybe it's a special dinner, and if they don't hit it, they're not going to be sad, they're not going to be distraught. But it's something they want to work for. They want to push for. But you just want to protect yourself, and you don't want to eat it. And the other way to look at this, Ed, I'd like to say, is that you can also put this on the Pied Piper. I mean, the whole idea with that Pied Piper, I'm assuming that's also your group leader, Ed, is that you're signing a group agreement. So listen to me carefully, folks. At the end of the day, you don't want to reward your Pied Piper or your group leader with something free if they didn't earn it, if they didn't bring in the people. So instead of making all the people the heavy and paying a heavy, heavy cost, I would also have a little thing in your group agreement letter with the Pied Piper saying, listen, if we hit 30 people, you get this free. I sure hope it's not a free trip, because I am dead set against giving away free travel, free trip. So whatever you're referring to, Ed, here is that $1,000. Okay, but actually you say it's the Pied Piper fare. Then that's fine. But I would make the Pied Piper work. It's not a gimme. It can't be a definite, my friend. If we hit a minimum of, and I'm making this up, 30 people, okay, then the fare is covered, and of course you're going to define what that fare is, but it should never be a gimme. So therefore, you can go back and perhaps, Ed, you can reduce the per person add-on that's going to cover the Pied Piper's fee, but at the end of the day, the onus goes back to the Pied Piper. They better get out there and work their butts off, getting people signed up, spreading the word, spreading the gospel. They need skin in the game, that they're not going to get their fare paid for unless there's a minimum number of people. And you can even have it on a sliding scale. That's okay. If we get 30 people, your fare is going to be covered in here, so I'm going to define fare. What's included, what's not included. If we hit 25 people, well, you need to pay X amount of dollars. If we hit 20 people, you need to pay X amount of dollars. It's a requirement. And if they don't sign the agreement, Ed, the deal's over, baby. It's over. So I wouldn't, number one, ever put yourself at risk. Number two, I wouldn't put all the heavy on all the people where they're paying a ton of money, and it could dissuade them from booking. I would make it a fair and balanced price, but put the rest of the heavy on the Pied Piper and the group leader. Tell me if you agree or disagree. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to if they want to go free, they've got to earn it. It's no gimme. And the only time you're going to have somebody say, too bad, tough noogies, I have to go free guaranteed, is if it's perhaps a celebrity. Some big wig, big dog that's used to getting things free, that normally gets paid to do these things, and that's just part of the deal, and that's a whole different kind of contract, man. Otherwise, you got to work for it. And if they're confident in their abilities to gather the troops, you're good to go. Let me stop talking. Let me see if you guys have any thoughts, comments that you want to. Sandy says, or that extra cost could be a hedge against a price hike. if you have to book additional cabins so you can offer the same price even if the price goes up. Okay, so let me read this again. Well, the extra cost could be a hedge against a price hike. That's right. That's right. So therefore, if you start off, if I'm reading this right, at the higher price point, okay, then you already have a higher income. So let's just say if you have additional cabins coming in and there's a price hike, it costs you more money. You don't need to. You have the surplus to cover what would normally be an extra cost to the new people coming into the additional cabins, if I'm reading you right, Sandy. So there's lots of ways to look at this. You know, a surplus is good, man. It could cover things that eventually could go wrong. It could cover bonuses. It could cover extra profits for you. And it could cover, as Sandy is suggesting too. Yvonne says, what is he including in the cost? Air, land, or just land? I don't know. All Ed said was the Pied Piper fare. Because Yvonne, if I'm reading what you're saying here, potentially then you can break it down and say, hey, if you hit 15 passengers, this is what's covered. If you hit 20 passengers, here's what's covered. If not, you're responsible for your own air. Let them earn each and every step of the way. I think that's what you're suggesting. Sandy says that is once the minimum is met so that the Pied Piper is paid for. Absolutely. It's all about the minimums. And the Pied Piper needs skin in the game to know it. Sam says, I use the minimum number set by the cruise line or by the tour operator to go. Right, especially if you're going to earn a TC. Especially if you're going to earn the TC, the tour credit. Which, frankly, I'm a big believer that the consumer, the client, the group leader, the Pied Piper, they don't need to know your business. So let's say if it's the typical in cruising, 1 for 15. All right, they don't need to know that. So you can set it lower, or I should say you can set it higher, right? I know river cruising is slightly different. If it's a hotel or resort, it's going to be different. You don't need to show your hand. They don't need to know when you get it free, because you know it ain't free when you get it free, because you're still paying taxes. If it's a cruise, still paying NCCFs, so forth and so on. Okay, that's none of their business. So you can certainly use that. And I want to bring up one more point here, my friends. And I think we've discussed this before, which is when your Pied Piper, your group leader, or the whole group is going to earn something as an incentive based on the number of guests that book, especially if it's something free, okay, to a specific person. The group leader is going to go free or going to get a part of their trip paid for. You got to be careful when you pay this out, especially if it's a cash payout, which I am against cash payouts. I'd much rather you give them something back in terms of value, giving them back something that has a higher perceived value but costs you less cash. But you don't want to pay it out or guarantee it until that cruise departs, until they depart for that trip. Why do you want to wait? You want to wait because what if there's a last minute cancellation? And what if you miss the TC payout? Well, you can't go back to that supplier and say, but wait, I promised to pay it out. And now I missed, so please help me, help me. What's the supplier going to say? Tough noogies. Now, I don't know what a noogie is, but it works. I used to say it when I was a kid. Right? So you guys understand this. You guys are savvy to this. You never want to pay out, especially a cash bonus, cash reward. And even in your contract with anything free, you almost want to collect. I know it's tough. You almost want to collect the money from the Pied Piper, the group leader, and say, I'm going to give you a check for, rebate back to you this amount the day of departure, because we need to hold this just to make sure everybody shows up and goes on a trip, because there's always going to be cancellations last minute. You guys know that. The larger the group, the more opportunity for cancellations. All right? So we can really dig down and do some surgery on this, because I said a whole bunch here. It's not as easy as it sounds when it comes to telling a group leader, sorry, you're not going free until I know, we've cleared the mark. We're not going to have last minute cancellations. You know, because sometimes I've been through this where somebody, a consumer, calls the cruise line and cancels. Not you, the agent, and you don't know till you get the manifest, right? Until you go and you do your finalization or your true up and you go, hey, where are they? Oh, they didn't show. They called and they canceled with them. They didn't call me. You know, and you've already paid out. That's a whole big subject, man, and that's something maybe we should. And I know that's in the section week 4, which is where I avoid group disasters. I definitely say don't pay that stuff out before, but it's easier said than done until you how you construct that in the agreement. Tell me if you want to dig down deeper. Okay, Marty, you just typed in a question. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Let me go to Marty's question. Ed, tell me if that worked for you. Everybody, tell me if that made sense, no sense, because that's a heavy-duty thing, and there's absolutely some risk involved in coming up with the price that you want to set against all the guests when you don't know how many guests. It's a balancing act. But number one, you want to protect yourself. CYA. And then make it fair and balanced for everybody and make sure the group leader has skin in the game. Okay. Ed says, thanks, work, help. Good, Def, awesome. Cool, Ed, thank you. I mean, there's so much more I want to talk about that because you know, there's ideas, but I'm going to move on, and if we can, we'll go back to it, or we'll do some more stuff on Facebook. But Marty, hang in there. I want to go to Sam's question, and then Marty, we're going to take on yours. Anybody else you've got? Go ahead and type it in. If you just entered the room, please come and just say thank you. Not thank you. Say hello. You don't have to say thank you. You just say hello. And I know, Rashawn, you're here for the first time. If you're another first timer, let me know too. Okay, Sam is working now. Listen, everybody. This is an interesting question that I want to hear from you too. Working on next year's marketing plan. And Sam, if you don't mind me sharing this, because you were doing it more part-time, now you're doing it more full-time. So in the past, you hadn't really developed a marketing plan for a whole year, let alone in writing. Yet you had a successful business. Yet now you're retired and doing it a full-time basis, and you started your own full-time home-based agency. That it's no more on-the-fly approach. This is I'm paraphrasing what Sam is writing here, which is very exciting. I'm very, very happy for you, and I agree with you. It can't be an on-the-fly approach. So one of the questions I have for you guys is, do you or don't you write a marketing plan for the future? Do you or don't you? And don't be shy or embarrassed if you don't do it. Let me know, because if you guys are not doing this, maybe we dedicate a whole or a bonus Ask Stuart Hour. We talk about that. Maybe I create some additional modules for a boot camp that one I would just upload and give to you guys to help you craft a business plan. I've done tons of materials on that. Tell me if you need that from me, and I'll do it. Because you need to have a game plan. You need a map, an MAP, a master action plan. Because if you know where you want to go, you need to know how to get there, and you need to know when you've arrived by setting goals and setting strategies. Okay? So let me know. But here, and so keep listening here. Sam says, I woke up pondering this morning these questions. Anybody out there at Ask Stuart Land block? Do you guys block? And by the way, if you're watching this as a podcast, and so many of you do, because it's hard for you to come live, and I understand, I'm grateful for that. I'm recognizing you right now. If you're on the treadmill, if you're listening to me while you're going for a walk or in your car going to work in the morning, you can still respond to these things on Facebook or whatnot, because your feedback is important. But do you blog on a regular basis? I need to know. Sam wants to know. I want to know. And how often do you blog? Once a day, once a week, semi-monthly, a month, anytime you have a thought? Are there any rules about blogging that I should know about? So this is a great question about blogs. So the first question was about just a general marketing plan. And I'm going to check the boards in a second to see what your feedback is. The other thing is about blogs. Now, we had a guest on, it could have been a year ago, Sherry, my good friend Sherry. She's a professional blogger. Okay? And we talked all about blogging. So if you go way up on the podcast, you'll see her as one of my expert guests. She's a professional. Now, I want to tell you, me personally, I couldn't keep up with myself, and I stopped blogging, and I'm disappointed in myself because I truly want to, and I said if I couldn't commit to it, I'm not going to do it right now, so I don't. And that's not good. I believe you should be blogging, but there's no rules. If you need to set yourself, Sam, and everybody else, with a certain discipline to say that every Monday you're going to do a blog, and if that's your discipline, that's great. If you don't want to do it once a week, if you want to do it once a month, that's entirely up to you. I do believe it's very important to blog, but blog can be defined in many ways. A blog can be one paragraph. A blog can be much longer. A blog can be just a shared experience that you've had of traveling someplace with some pictures. A blog can be along the lines of travel tips, information, advice. In this marketplace where so much is based on e-commerce, my friends, where everyone reverts to the internet first for information before they'll call you, whether they go to your site or any place else, they look for information online. So you need to be a part of that. And you need to build your integrity, your street cred, I believe, by publishing something. A blog can be a video. I much prefer blogging by video. I don't know if any of you guys are comfortable doing that. But I much prefer just firing it up, making a statement. And you know, on Facebook, you can't do it from your computer, but you can do on a mobile device, right, on Facebook, you can record a video and post it. That's your blog. So you can define your blog any way you want. There's no rule. Here's the two foundations for defining your blog, I would say. Number one, make sure you put out the information that the people you want to reach really need most, really want from you. It's not as much about you, it's as much about them. So put out the stuff that you believe your best customers, your ideal customers want to hear, need to hear, care about. Okay? And keep it focused. So they look forward to getting it. And if you don't want to do it weekly, monthly, and you want to do it when you get that thought, right, Sam? You do it when you get that thought, because I work better like that, too. That's okay. And sometimes you can respond to their questions, like I'm doing here with you, and just do a quick written or video blog post saying, one of my most valued clients was inside and asked about this, and we did this, so here's the lesson. Boom. You don't need to be a professional writer. You don't need to be fancy schmancy. It can be real simple. Just share your knowledge. Build integrity. Build credibility. That's the whole purpose of that. To add value to that relationship so that they know you care. They know you're an expert. Now listen carefully. Number two, I said the first thing was make sure you're giving information that your primary target needs and wants. And number two, keep it simple and keep it fun. Don't go crazy. Now, I know, Sam, you said here that you can add a blog to the website for a small fee and wonder if it's worth the time. Now, Sam, I'm not sure if you're talking about paying a service because there's plenty of companies or people, individuals, who will write for you, or you can just pick and choose articles and you can post that. That's fine if you want to do that. I don't know if that means you need to add that technology to your website. Most websites today, like if you're using WordPress or some of the common basic platforms, are already built for blogs. That's what they are, actually. They start off as blog sites. I'm going to check the question box in just a second. I'm yapping away here. But tell me if this is helping, and I want to read some of the responses we've gotten regarding a marketing plan and regarding blogs. We'll come back and recap that. Judy says, makes sense to me. Cool. Michonne said, yes, per preferred vendor. Okay, so that's your marketing plan. You create a marketing plan with based on your preferred vendors. Is that the question you're answering, Michonne? I just want to make sure. I probably asked too many questions. Mickey said, I don't. I know I should, though. Yes, absolutely, my friends. A marketing plan is critical. No matter how, if you think that your business isn't big enough for it or it's not necessary, it is. Because it helps you make decisions along the way. As new challenges come your way, as new opportunities come your way, you go back to your little marketing plan, which doesn't have to be a novel. It could be 1 or 2 pages, and will keep you on the straight and narrow. It'll remind you where you set off to go, to get, what your goal is, what your strategy. You don't want to be diverted or deflected off your path, because the last thing in the world you want, my friends, is to finish off the year and say, wow, where'd the year go? What did I accomplish? I made some money. Lost some business, gained some business, but, I'm doing more running in place. The whole idea is you want to take your business every year to a new level. You want to grow. You want to aspire higher. And that's what a master action plan does. It'll keep you focused on the goal. Doesn't mean it can't change along the way, but it'll give you cause for thought. Before you change your plan, you'll say, this is not what I set out to do. Trust me, it absolutely, positively, 1,000. I do it for my business. I have a marketing plan. And where's my book? I have so many books on this desk. You don't want to see what this desk looks like. Okay. So I have one big book which I can't find. It's my master book for my master plan for the year. And then every single week, I set out my to-do list for every single week that I make sure, stays in tune with my master plan. All right, here we go. Wait, I got to put my glasses on. But Jenny says, I'd like to discuss a marketing plan. Good. All right, good deal. Thanks, Jenny. Jean Ann says, 20 plus years, plenty of trainings, but still haven't done one. Thank you for being honest, my friends. Most professional travel agents don't have a marketing plan. And I'm glad you're being honest and telling me. You got to tell me if you want some stuff, if you want a sort of a template for a plan. I'll put something together, man. I got this stuff. I'll do it. This is what the companies pay me. Oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. I get paid really great money to do my workshops and keynotes, and I've done a lot of workshops on creating a business plan, or I call it a MAP, a master action plan. A lot of people get afraid of it. It has to be really big and long. You need a master's, an MBA, but you don't. All right, Gina, thank you. Gina says, I've not done a detailed written marketing plan. Okay, opportunity. Judy says, I have in the past, but the last few years just haven't done it. Planning to in 2017 and 18. Good deal. Maybe I can help. Ed said, writing a blog post now as I listen to the podcast. Awesome. He's multitasking. You the man. Ed's writing a blog post right now. Hey, Ed, is that something you don't have to if you don't want to? Would you share that or post that in Facebook? Only if you want to. And folks, if you do blog posts now, would you share it with others? Share it. Let's see what you got going. Let's see what you're doing. Give us ideas. Gina says, I have a blog on my website. I try to blog once a month or so. So, Sam, there you go. Gina does it once a month. Ed's doing it right now. Rashawn says, website blog once a week. So, Rashawn does a once-a-week blog. And listen, friends, go visit each other's websites. See what you guys got going on. This is exciting stuff. Mickey does not blog. Gina says, I have a hard time keeping up with it and finding relevant content. I understand. I want to make this comment about relevant content, friends, which is that because I write for Agent at Home magazine every other month. I write for Travel Research Online, and they say, okay, Stuart, it's time for your article. And I sit there going, I got nothing to talk about, nothing to write about. I'm like, what am I, nuts? First of all, listen to me carefully, everybody. I have written for years and years and years, going back to Travel Trade magazine. Gina Ann, you probably remember that. And some of the other folks who have been around the block a year or two. I have so much stuff that these days I write a lot of new stuff. I do. I'm inspired. In fact, one of the last Ask Stuart Hours, we talked about sponsorships. That inspired me so much that I wrote a brand new article. You can call it a blog post, and it's being published now, I think, in the next issue of Agent at Home on sponsorships. Okay, and I'm going to add it into for you guys to see too. So things sometimes happen. But you have information you've already written. You need to repurpose it, repackage it. Repurpose it and repackage. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. Great way to blog. Repurpose information. Number two, you know a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for, my friends. You just don't think you need to share it because people already know, and they don't. I'll say it again. You know a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. So even if you write a simple article about smart tips about resort packing or smart tips about this or my goodness, this is a good one if you can figure this one out, understanding the complexities of booking a cruise these days where you have a million things to plan. Huh? Wow, used to be simple. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's stressful. That's just my opinion. That's just me talking. So you can even put a blog out there, and here's another thing I want to suggest to you. When you share either something that's repurposed or repackaged, or you share your wisdom of stuff that you do every day, but they don't, my friends. They don't know what you know. And if they do, then you're just validating stuff they already know, and that's okay. One of the secrets of success is, you're probably saying, I don't want to give them all my good stuff. That's what they're paying me for. And that's the position I'm in, friends. I got to write every day. I give away free stuff every day. Tons of free stuff. You know this. A lot of you were in boot camp, got hooked on some of the free stuff that I gave out, free webinars that I do, right? But my purpose is to give just enough, basically, what to do, but not all the details how to do it. If you want to know how to do it, you'll join boot camp. You'll pay. So that's what you want to do. You want to give just enough where they want the rest of the information, the rest of the story. I mean, there's plenty of articles out there, not just in travel. Give them 75% of the information free. But the most critical stuff of all, actually doing it, that's the 25% that they're going to pay you for. And that's the way I help market boot camp. Okay, so I hope that helps. So don't stress over what to write about or video about. You got so much that you guys know that they don't, that you can share and break it down into little modules. Rashawn says newsletter once a month. So Rashawn also does a newsletter. You know, it's interesting. I've seen newsletters go up and down and up and down and up and down. Sort of the blog has become the new newsletter. So Rashawn, I don't know if you use a newsletter that you write fully, or if you use somebody else's newsletter, if you will, that supplies the content and it's customized for you. I know a lot of people do that too. Just curious. Sam says, definitely would love for you to address MAPS, Master Action Plans at Boot Camp, and devote Stuart Hour to marketing plans. Okay. All right, will do. Judy says, I don't blog, but putting that on my plan to add to my website, should I add this to my Facebook too? Absolutely. When you blog, you want it to appear and be promoted in all of your social media, because some of your people are going to get your email. Some of your people either don't want or don't read your email. They're going to get it on Facebook. And wouldn't it be great if one of your friends or followers on Facebook decides to share it with a friend? That's how you grow. Now, you might use Instagram. You might use Pinterest. You might use Twitter. When you blog, it goes everywhere. Everywhere. Thank you, Judy. Yvonne says, I'm still not clear. What are the functions of the per person besides bringing travelers to sign up? What else can they do? How do I know they will know how to do the job? You're going to have to expand on that for me, Yvonne. I don't know the full question. What are the functions of the the Pied Piper beside bringing the travelers to sign up? All right, we're going to come back to that. Hold on there. I want to go back to Marty's question, because the Pied Piper should have a lot of functions, baby, a lot of functions. Well, you're going to measure that out, because maybe they won't. But the more they ask for, the more they should be doing. The less they ask for, potentially, the less they need to do. All right, Marty, let me get to Marty's question here. By the way, have I thanked you all for being here? I'm really grateful you're here. I really am. Thank you. Marty says, Stuart, at what point would you have a group host travel with the group, even if there is a Pied Piper going on the trip? This adds to the agency expense and reduces profits. Great question. Everybody listen to me very carefully. Marty, I hope you're still there and paying attention. I'm going to read this again. At what point would you have a group host travel with the group, even if there is a Pied Piper going on the trip? This adds to the agency expense and reduces profits. Very important, my friends. There's two reasons why you want to, either you or you want to have somebody else escort the group, whether there's a Pied Piper or not. In fact, if the Pied Piper or the group leader is not a travel professional, all the more reason. There's two reasons. Number one, if there's some level of complexity to the group. If they have private events, if they have private tours, if there are private functions, every additional private function, private event, something that's customized, that's something else that can go wrong. So the first thing is, it does not matter what size group it is. It could be a group of 12 people or 10 people. But if the more events they have, the more that can go wrong and will go wrong. How many times have you traveled with a group, done a group, heard about a group situation, and you find out that the cruise line calls you, the hotel calls you, sorry, we have to switch rooms, sorry, we can't do this, we got to bump you. Happens all the time. I don't know how many you've actually escorted and realized that, man, it's a good thing you were there, that you met with the group leader on site at the hotel or the ship, because they didn't know this, they didn't know this, because you know you're only communicating with headquarters. How do you know how much is getting to the ship or getting to the hotel? It can get really ugly, friends. Now, you can do the best, most amazing, phenomenal job of planning, getting it in writing from the supplier too, but man, they could change the day before. But when that client calls you from the ship, from Europe, or sends you an email that gets back from the ship saying, you screwed it up, this didn't work, the room wasn't ready, they didn't have our coffee ready, the slides weren't there, the audio went wrong, they didn't have us seated together, the trip was late, the tour was was early, was too short. It's your fault. Why? Because you weren't there. So number one, if it's a complex trip, you got to go. Number two, size. So, it could be a kind of a low complexity trip, but if you've got 30, 40, 50, 60 people, you got to go, because Marty, with each additional body that's going, there's an additional thing that could be a problem, could go wrong. And that group leader or that Pied Piper, they're not the travel agent. I would hope that they've done their job or responsibility of being a great Pied Piper, being a great group leader, gathering troops, getting the testimonials together, getting people to sign up. But they're on vacation too, man. What if that person is the president of the organization and they know everything about the organization, the people? They don't know anything about the trip, the plans, how things work. They can't be in charge of that. It's your responsibility to be there. Key word, responsibility. Now, Marty, I want to get to part 2 of your thing, which is saying that this adds to the agency expense and reduces profits. Watch this. You should not take this on the chin. It is not your responsibility to eat the cost of escorting. It's your responsibility, and it's their responsibility to pay. Your responsibility to go, because things are going to go wrong, and it's going to come back and bite you, give you a bad name, give you a headache and a nightmare forever. That's why you got to go. And I know what you're saying to me, Marty. You're saying, but client never wants to pay. I'm not paying for you to go. And here's what you're going to say. You're going to say, you can't pull this off without an escort, a professional escort there, because so much can and will go wrong. Okay? Any travel agent who says, you don't need me there, you can handle on your own, is putting you at high risk. This is what I call, Mr. Ms. Jones, a very, very high risk group, because so much can go wrong. You don't have to worry about paying for me. I'm going to be part of the package. So you're going to give me permission to present you with a high value package. And that package will include me to be there to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And when things do go wrong, you won't know about it, because my role is to stay a step ahead and behind the scenes. You won't even know I'm there. But man, when you walk into that room, the table's going to be set, coffee's going to be ready, tour's going to be ready, going to be dining together. I'm even going to have a hospitality desk. And I'm going to tell you when I'm going to be at that desk, so you, group leader, can go enjoy your time with your colleagues, with your family, with your associates. The level of stress and risk on your back, if I'm not there, is going to weigh you down and crush you. And you're going to call me during and after, screaming at me, because it's the nature of the business. Things change, things go wrong. That's why my clients know that I'm there, and I'm going to stay a step ahead and behind the scenes to make sure everything goes perfect. Don't worry about paying me. I will be part of the package. You do not, I'm saying this again to make sure I understand, use my words, you do not want to embark on this trip without somebody there escorting it, because it will absolutely crush you with risk and stress. Marty, am I making sense here? Because if you say this with confidence, the client will say, I know it, I agree, thank you. You can say, can I get a, you know that song? Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get an amen? Feels like the, it's a great song. I forgot the name of it, but it's one of my favorite. It's not really new anymore, country songs. Who sings that song? I love it. Excuse my singing out loud. But you are going to rescue them. I can't get that across enough. Let me see what comments I got to that one. All right, here we go. Here we go. Hold on there. Sorry, I know that what's about. I'm cutting up the kitchen up here. Okay. Okay, Rashawn, I'm going to catch up on comments. Social media, photo blogging is inspiration. Hits Facebook Live is great for that. Yeah, thank you, Rashawn. Absolutely. You know, Facebook Live is fantastic. It used to be, there was another app that I don't even know if they still have it anymore, where You can actually hold up your phone and it streams live, and Facebook has that too. But photo blogging, I think, is huge. If you don't want to write, just do it with pictures, man. Do it with pictures and a little description of that picture. That's a great suggestion. Karen says, hey Karen, yes, adding a module on marketing to bootcamp would be helpful. Great. You guys have convinced me to do it. I will do it. I will add more value to bootcamp and probably increase the price next year because I have several other things that I want to add as well. Sam says not paying a she does. Okay, for blogging, not paying a service, I would write the blog, just a small fee from a tech guy to add it to my website. Great help. It doesn't sound so cumbersome the way you define it. Yeah, and I'll tell you, Sam, and I get it. If anything that's complex, confusing, or you might end up screwing up, you want to pay somebody to do, because that's my rule. Anything that's too complex, takes too much time, that I will probably screw up, I pay somebody else to do. Jean Ann says, yes, a template and a webinar on it would be great. Okay, we're still talking marketing plan, very cool. Yvonne says, yes, cool. Sandy says, I have a problem with what's your goal for next year. Is a 5% increase in business reasonable? 25%, 55%? Figuring out how to reach the goal probably will determine how much of an increase to aim for. Yeah, in terms of what kind of business you want to grow, your number, you can either set your own personal income goal and back it down that way. You can do that. Okay. You can also talk to your suppliers, because every one of your salespeople, they have their own goal. Ask them what their goal is. Ask them what their expectation of you is to deliver, especially if it's one of your big preferred suppliers. So if you grow your business, they're going to get the bulk of it too. But every one of your BDMs, DSMs, they have goals. So, and the reason why you want to do that is not necessarily to please them, although that's really good, because then when you go to ask for co-op and you go to ask for special considerations or favors and you go to negotiate, they're going to love you to pieces when you deliver. And it certainly shows them that you've partnered with them. But when you get an idea of the goals that your suppliers have, then you get an idea of what kind of year they're looking forward to. Is it going to be big? Is it going to be small? Believe me, they have bean counters. They have rooms and rooms full of bean counters who come up with realistic goals based on market conditions and, of course, based on pressure from their shareholders. It's very complex. So they set ambitious goals but realistic goals. And believe me, I've been on the supplier side. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, but that could also help you. But a lot of times you want to set your goals based on your income. What's your income? And then back it into the amount of business you want to do, and then back it into the marketing strategies. And obviously, you want to focus on the business that's most profitable to you. Jean Ann says, yes, remember travel trade. So do I. I sure miss Joel. I really do. He got me started in speaking, Joel. Good. He was a very dear friend. May he rest in peace. Gina says, that's a look on my face when I sit down to write my blog. See? Everyone gets freaky, man. But you just bang out a paragraph or take something you've written before and you can do it, or do a video clip. Or if you want, you can write something, and there's folks out there, even if you go to Fiverr.com, for $5 they can do some editing for you and you're done. Rashawn says that you write it. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for participating so much on your first one, Rashawn. I'm truly grateful. Marty says, yeah, in agreement here. We're building it in the price. We're building it into the price on larger groups. Bingo. You hear that, everybody? Marty's down with the game. Everyone else, remember, it's your responsibility to rescue them from risk and stress by building yourself into the package. And you gotta get paid for that service, because you're saving them, man, from a lot of misery. You guys know this, whether it's a complex group or just a plain old large group where things are going to go wrong. You need to be there. And by the way, make sure in week 4, I have a document, a multiple page document on escorting. Okay, it's got like almost 100 tips, everything you could possibly think of. Everything. I challenge you to find something I've missed. How's that? I challenge you. Gina wants an Ask Stuart Hour on marketing. All right, Gina, we're going to do it. Sandy says, thanks, Stuart. That helps. Good. I am glad. I am glad. All right, hang on here. Is Michelle? Did Michelle join us? Is Michelle in the house? Because I don't see Michelle was able to join us here. Michelle had a great question, and I did listen. We just got a couple minutes left, folks. Go let what I'm. You think I've been drinking, and I'm not. All I'm drinking is my coffee. Get in your last minute comments or questions, folks. By the way, any issues, excitement, questions, opportunity, testimonials with clientees, let me know. I hope you love the deal. Our next Ask Stuart Hour is September 13th. I am just back from LeBlanc, back from Moon Palace. If you guys have any questions about those resorts, let me know. I always like to share if you've never been and you want some information to help your clients out. My next trip, just so you know, where's my next trip, is San Diego, where I'm keynoting at the Connection Conference. So that's where I'm going to be, and I'm going to be at ASTA, September 28th in Reno. Is anybody going? Michelle asked a great question, wanted more information about a group target sequence, that we have a group launch sequence, right, how to promote the group. But she said, no, back up. What about getting the appointment, getting in the door? She called it a group target sequence. So she gave me an idea. I mean, I have this information, and it's kind of scattered around boot camp, but maybe I'll come up with a real focused attack strategy. Now, if you guys look right now, I'm going to share this handout. I don't know if you see it. Tell me, do you guys see that handout that's there? If you click on it, hold on there. I lost my screen. Do you see that? It's Stuart's group boot camp. Get in the door. I don't remember if I put this in boot camp yet. If not, here it is, and I will post it. But please download it. Do you guys see that? Can download it. And I'm going to send this to Michelle too. You know, getting in the door again. I'm only going to take 60 seconds on this. To get in the door, it's not about trying to sell something. Because if you're just trying to sell your great group idea, man, 9 out of 10 doors are not going to open and let you in because nobody wants to be sold to. Now, if you guys have been on other Ask Stuart Hours, we've talked about this a lot. You have to be a problem solver. So to get in the door, there's really 5 key things that'll get you in the door, and that's on this document here. One of them is being a customer. One of them is being referred to, name drop. You know, one of them is being a shared passion. If you have a shared passion, you have something in common with them. But just walking in off the street is going to be real tough because nobody wants to be sold to. Now, when I want to make a sale to somebody, I don't go in saying, I've got a great idea, can I present it? Because then that other person already feels obligated. Oh, gosh, Stuart's going to want to sell something to me. No, I say, hey, do you have 15 minutes? I want to come in and meet you. I want to talk. I want to make friends. We both own a local business here. I mean, there's got to be a reason why you want to come in and spend 15 minutes. And you're going to play detective. You're going to understand. You're going to ask more questions. And that's going to be the first of many meetings. Because eventually you're going to get to the opportunity. But friends, the worst thing in the world you can do, is send a long email with your big, great idea. They're either never going to answer because the email's too long, or you've spilled the beans and it's too late. And it has to be, they have to reveal their problem, and you need to come up with your group idea, your group concept as the solution to their problem. Because group travel, that's what it is. It's a solution to a problem. Does that make sense? That's what it is. You're a problem solver. Travel solves a problem. Getting people together for a reason. What's the reason? Customer loyalty. We want to showcase the new book that we've written. We need to have our big awards banquet someplace cool. We have multiple generations, and we don't know where to take everybody, where they're all going to be able to have a good time. Trust me, go back and look at every successful group you've done. There's always been a problem that you've solved by bringing them together with a group. So make sure you download that document. It looks like, Michonne, you could see it. You could see it. Everybody has downloaded already. Show document again. I'll tell you what, I'll email it to you. Let me see. There it is. It's right there, but you can't see it off my screen. you got to look where it says handouts, everybody. Handouts, and you should be able to download it. All right, my friends, we are out of time. Wow, that was a lot of hot air in my office. I hope it worked for you. Did it work for you? Grateful you showed up. Grateful you came. Hope we answered some questions. Ed, thanks for your questions. Sam, thanks for yours. Michelle, we're going to get more stuff for you coming up. And also, I promise you I'm going to get to work on that master action plan because I want you to hit the ground ready for 2017 roaring to rock and roll. All right, everybody. My pleasure, Jenny. You're welcome. You're welcome, Gina. Very informative. Sandy, my pleasure. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Happy sales. We'll see you soon.